Hello and welcome, it's Rooflemonger. Today we have a tips and tricks video for Abigail in Street Fighter V. In this video we're going to be going over some stuff like projectile immunity stuff, moves that have juggle properties, some tick throw setups, and some elusive stuff like frame 1 armor, which you don't think he has normally. I do have videos on other stuff like how to get around fireballs and how to use the pre-jump throw techniques. They'll be at the end of the videos in the suggested videos or whatever, but for now let's go into the meat of it. Now, to quickly go over the juggles I mentioned, so if you've played Abigail pretty much any amount of time, you're going to be well aware that his main go-to anti-air attack is his jab. So stand jab works fine, and so does crouch jab actually. But he does have two other buttons to get in there with. First is crouch fierce, which is not the most reliable, as it's quite slow, and you can see here I'm just trying to be reactive, and you know, you can get a crush counter if it works, but it's not the best. Now, the other option is forward fierce punch. Now, it's obviously slower than the jab, but it's still quite a bit faster than the crouch fierce punch. And the forward fierce punch, as you see here, causes a juggle state in the air. So, what I'm going to do here, and this is mostly for jumps you're predicting, because it is still slower than jab. Jab you can just kind of toss out whenever. Maybe it trades, but at least you got them off you. So, the forward fierce punch, you can do all sorts of juggles with it here. I did a crouch medium punch there. Depending on the height of the jump, you also get a fierce punch flip. Normally I do the medium punch flip. And if they're at the peak of the jump, you can actually get a run and a punch. Now overall, I do recommend using the medium punch flip, just simply because it'll pretty much always work no matter the angle. So if they're too far or too deep or whatever, it doesn't have the possibility of whiffing like the fierce punch does sometimes if they're a bit closer to the ground than the absolute peak of the jump. And the punch also, if they are somewhat closer to the ground, it's also going to whiff unless you do the EX, which is not always ideal. So, but yeah, just not everyone seems to be aware that that causes a juggle state in the air outside, like, you know, your big V trigger combos and all that fun stuff. But if you can catch a predictive jump, it's a good chunk of damage, and it's going to do a lot more to dissuade them from jumping than like a 40 damage jab. So quick note about that projectile invincibility. So you're probably aware EX Flip is pretty much fully invulnerable to projectiles and on frame 1. So there's a bit more to it. I just want to open your mind to like an idea like more than just, oh, I see a Hadouken or something, so I flip through it instead of, you know, dealing with it. So some people like Rashid or Fang, they excel in creating pressure through close fireball situations. So I just want to give you an idea here. So this common setup you've probably seen. So there is a small gap here, and if you're really on the ball, you can like jab it or something. But most of the time, you know, people are human. You're not going to get that exact window where it's open to have enough time to get something through it. So what the EX Flip, for example, lets you, if you want to wait till like the last second, when you can assess, you know, what you just saw. Since it's invulnerable to projectiles on frame 1, you can wait till the last possible moment and get that flip in. And since, you know, you're so close, you can beat them. So same deal with Fang. He might be in your face, and then he'll do the upshot and drop, you know, 2 poison bits on your head, and Abigail being so tall is extra dangerous. But same deal, you know, you can just kind of go like, oh, crouch light kick into a flip or something. If you are close enough, it is a combo naturally, as you can see here. So just an idea just to open your mind. Like, it's not always necessarily, oh, you're fighting from full screen, you want to get in, so you do that to get past the fireball or something. Sometimes the fireball's happening right in your face with like a tiny gap of variable frames, and that's exactly your ticket to get in, get them off you, and maybe get some damage while you're at it. Now let's go over the tick throw setups quickly. So Abigail is, you know, by design not meant to be as powerful as a grappler as Alex or Zangief or something, because his buttons generally are more and a bit better than theirs, so conversely his throw game's a lot weaker. That said, you do have 4 tick throw setups, and that's simply your standing and crouching light attacks. So off a stand jab, you get a throw. Off a crouch jab, you get a throw. Off stand kick, you get a throw. And these are all fierce throws, by the way. And crouch kick, you get a throw. Of these, I am most partial to the crouch light kick simply because it comes out and recovers the fastest, giving them less mental time to assess what just happened and prepare for some sort of tick throw setup like you just did to them. So for me, crouch light kick is king, but all four are perfectly valid. Now it's time for the really fun stuff, which is the V trigger. So the two main ways you want to go into V trigger, and keep in mind you can go into it raw if you want to, and there is some validity to that, which I'll go over in a little bit. But the two main ways you want to go into it are crouch medium kick and your sweep. So the crouch medium kick, the reason it works so well is because even at the absolute tip of the range, you can always get a combo off it. So what happens is, what makes that work is the V trigger actually steps you forward a slight amount. So you'll always be in range from crouch medium kick to get the crouch fierce into medium punch Abigail punches. Now the other move to use is the sweep. And same deal if it connects, since it moves you forward so much, you get a combo. And what makes it extra good is it is exceptionally plus on block. So the numbers for Abigail are a bit in flux, but if the numbers that are officially put out are to be believed, crouch medium punch, for example, is 13 frames. So if I were to go to sweep and trigger, immediately crouch medium punch, even if they were mashing jab, the jab still wouldn't come out because they are so negative. They are not yet recovered by the time they have to block the crouch medium punch. So you're at least plus 13 on block. So with that in mind, keep in mind, if you attempt to go for a pile driver right away or something, you're not going to get it because it's going to go right through them because there's no blocks done. So if you get the hit, go for your combo. And if it gets blocked, either take a tiny step forward and then go for that command throw. Or take a tiny step forward and go for a medium punch. Either way, keep the pressure on. So even on block, you're still in their face, you're plus, so you're in charge. So it's really handy to know, and it's a great tip. Now, one thing I want to mention here about the trigger is it actually changes some properties of stuff. Some people aren't aware of these. Well, one is good, and one's actually critical to know. So first off, it's just damage. So let's do, this is Fierce Kick Throw. So it does 220. For in trigger, it's 253. So what happens here is there is a flat 15% damage increase across the board for all of his moves. So even something simple as like jab is 40 damage, but if we trigger it, 46. So it's not as strong as Birdie's, who gets a significant damage increase, but any damage increase is fantastic, especially because his damage output isn't low to begin with. So it's just more and more damage. And now the big thing is, it has to do with Abigail's probably his single most key weakness, which is his defense. So Abigail, if you're not really aware, probably has the worst defense in the game to offset his size, his range, and his damage. So if someone's pressuring you, you gotta wait for gaps or just wait your turn, because nothing happens till frame 3. V-skill doesn't come out till frame 3. Armor on EX run doesn't come out till frame 3. The only active defense you can have is the pre-jump frame glitch trick, which, once again, as I mentioned, it'll be at the end of the video. But what happens here in trigger is there's a change. So we got Akuma set up to a very common setup here, which is this guy. So that move there, the chop is plus on block, and the stand light is 3 frames. So meaning no V-skill, because you're going to get hit out of it. No EX run, because you're going to get hit out of it, because they're 3 frames and they're too slow. But what changes here is this. When we go into trigger, now we're going to do the same deal. So once again, V-skill, nothing. But if we go for the EX run, all of a sudden, we just beat it. So once again, see here, EX run. As long as, you know, we don't go too crazy. EX run now has armor on the first frame. And this is only while you're in trigger, but now this is his best defensive option. Because now, no matter the frame trap, you can blow it up and get a hefty chunk of damage with the throw. So when I mentioned about going into trigger raw before, is simply because of this. If you're playing a high pressure character like, you know, Akuma, Karen, or something like that, this frame on armor could very well save your life and get them off you and start making them respect you when they wouldn't otherwise. So once again, I still very much recommend, you know, going for crouch medium kick or sweep or something in the trigger. But sometimes if you just can't trust yourself to get that and you're scared of the pressure that's going to come at you, just go into it raw. You know, you still get your damage bonus on any straight hits, which is great. But now you have access to that frame 1 armor, and that is going to save your life. End of story. So he went from having the worst defense in the game to still pretty bad defense, not going to lie. But at least it's something, and something is absolutely always better than nothing. And in our final section of this video today, I would just like to go over the V-skill. So the V-skill is kind of your secret out of brain dead pressure. So he obviously doesn't got a 3-frame move. His 4-frame move is not fantastic, and your next fast move is stand jab, and that's 5 frames. So a lot of people are going to chew you up. You know, everyone has block strings even designed to beat 3-frame moves, so you know how you're going to get out. But that's the secret. So the V-skill starts on frame 3, but since it's, you know, not a jab, the priority system never comes into play, and most block strings designed to beat 3-frame moves have an exact 3-frame gap. So you V-skill, you're going to bop them. End of story. So just to quickly note, so variable V-skill, like standing V-skill, gets pretty much everything except for crouching attacks, and crouching V-skill gets crouching attacks, not just lows, but crouching attacks. As long as they comes from the crouch, you got to use the crouch V-skill. But we got Karen here, so I'm going to set you up with a setup here you've probably seen a million times, which is this guy. So cross up into that. So that beats all 3-frame moves. So, you know, if we try to do our fast attack, which would be the crouch, we're going to lose, you know, it's not an issue. What we can do here is we're going to V-skill, and all of a sudden we beat it. So if you know someone like this who only uses brain dead pressure, you're going to bop them. And it doesn't just end there. Like, the V-skill only does a couple points of damage. The thing is, you get combos afterwards. And the V-skill itself is special cancelable, meaning you can get something more advanced than that. So if you wish to burn a bar, you can get a bit more damage. So here we're going to have the same deal, except she's going to use the crouch medium kick at the end of the block string. So once again, to beat that, if we just do standing, we're not going to beat it. It's a crouching move. Standing cannot win, so we got to use our crouch. And same deal, crouch just like the standing. You can get a combo off of it. And you can also special cancel out of it if you block. Oh, too much injustice using NRS blocking. So it's a fantastic tool to use. Now, obviously, once you introduce this, as long as, you know, players worth their salt, they're going to start, you know, varying things up. But, you know, that's exactly what you want. You want them to vary it up, because once their brain dead pressure is no longer on the table, they're going to eventually, you know, out of fear of the V-skill, they're going to try to, you know, catch you whiffing it and then punish you, which means their pressure has now stopped. They gave you a breather when they didn't have to, and it kind of begins your comeback. So this will put the fear into their lives of, you know, you can't just do the most brain dead stuff against people with no reversals like you would do to other characters like a Vega or something. So you can at least, you know, say, hey, I can fight back. Now, some block strings are a bit too tight, as we mentioned earlier. You know, the Akuma forward fierce punch into jab, that only has 2 frames of gap, so you're not going to be able to V-skill through that. But generally, by design, most block strings that punish 3-framers have an exact 3-frame gap. So feel free to try some of them out yourself. But overall, just if you see someone doing the same block string to you, this is your way to say, I don't submit to your pressure, and screw off. So in closing, I hope this helped you out. Some of these, you know, weren't immediately apparent to me, like stuff like the damage boost in trigger. I didn't know that day one until I kind of really looked at the numbers. And stuff like the frame 1 armor, I only found out recently myself. Once again, I just want to really reiterate and trigger that frame 1 armor on the X run is gonna be probably your most critical thing. Because Abigail, like, once, you know, if they're fighting you at your range, then whatever, you're winning. But either they lose or they get in. There's no in between. So once they get in, you got to get them off. And now that you have access to frame 1 armor, that's going to be the biggest lifesaver you have. because now you don't even have to guess, oh, is this a 3-frame situation or not to get V-skill in. You can just go no, 2 hits of armor at minimum, or maximum rather, instead of 1 with the regular run. And you can just blow through anything and just say no, go for the throw, because that's usually going to be your fast attack afterwards, and get a solid chunk of damage afterwards. So anyways, I hope this video found you well. Thank you very much for watching, and go out and play some Street Fighter.